Hi all, today I want to cross over to the dark side a little, starting with a question: when it comes to succeeding in the business world, how is it that nasty people can seem to get so far? So let's walk around this through the notion of performance enhancing vices, which can be seen as character flaws or just traits that, while helping one become more successful as a professional in the short term, ultimately end up detracting from a well-balanced and truly flourishing life. Now, we can easily identify these vices by asking whether the traits that help us be competitive in business actually end up hindering our ability to be supportive colleagues or responsible citizens. Now, these vices obviously exist and they pose a significant challenge. In our pursuit of business success, we often adopt traits that support performance. Some are skills like negotiation and strategic thinking, while others are character traits like pride, envy, or recklessness that drive us to achieve more, but can and do ultimately lead us astray. I mean, we just have to think of pride or an inflated sense of self. Now, in the business world, pride manifests as a desire for personal recognition, glory, and success, and it's often masked as confidence or self-belief. Now, this attitude is pervasive in corporate cultures, particularly that value self-promotion and individual achievements. While pride can drive us to strive for excellence and protect our reputation, it also leads to two significant errors: overestimating our own capabilities and undervaluing others. Now, these errors are obviously detrimental. Overestimating our abilities results in us taking on projects beyond our capacity, leading to failure, and undervaluing others is definitely going to strain team dynamics and collaboration. Now, despite these downsides, pride still enhances performance by motivating people to prove themselves and achieve greatness, especially in competitive environments. In team settings, pride might lead to competition, healthy competition among colleagues, but it usually ends up fostering a toxic work environment. It can push individuals to outshine each other while still functioning as part of a team when handled right. In individual roles such as sales or entrepreneurship, pride can drive a person to outperform competitors, deeming themselves superior, or their product superior, we're just better than them. So regardless, pride's motivational role varies across businesses in different contexts. But we just have to think of Elizabeth Holmes and Theranos. Her pride and overconfidence in her vision for a revolutionary blood testing technology led her to make grandiose claims and mislead investors, patients, partners. Her refusal to acknowledge the limitations and failures of the technology resulted in a massive scandal, financial losses, damaged reputation. Napoleon, his pride and ambition certainly drove him to conquer vast territories across Europe, but his overconfidence also led to massive strategic blunders, such as the invasion of Russia, which ultimately led to his downfall. So, pride isn't necessary for success. Virtuous qualities like magnanimity or greatness of soul recognize dependence, interdependence on others, and strive for excellence in ways that align with community values for those that have them. So, but we can see pride's prevalence in business suggests that delusions of grandeur and feelings of superiority are sadly compatible with these high performance environments, or certainly are fostered there. But then we look at Tim Berners-Lee. He's the inventor of the World Wide Web. Instead of seeking personal gain or recognition, Berners-Lee made his creation freely available, fostering pretty much a lot of the world we live in today, all this innovation. This web has flourished and it's become an indispensable tool for most of humanity. Nelson Mandela's humility and willingness to listen to diverse viewpoints were also crucial in navigating South Africa through some pretty tough times at the end of apartheid. His ability to acknowledge his limitations and seek advice from others helped unify the nation and establish a foundation for reconciliation and equity. Another performance-enhancing vice is intransigence, or the refusal to abandon a course of action even when it's no longer beneficial. Now, this vice is evident when professionals persist with failing strategies, they neglect their own well-being, life balance, they ignore better opportunities. So while perseverance is essential, intransigence can lead to burnout, strained relationships, and missed chances. Intransigence might seem advantageous, as it drives individuals to achieve goals against all odds. However, it's a vice because it disregards limits and higher priorities, one being personal health and relationships. In a business culture that praises persistence without discerning the right pursuits, it's crucial to recognize that not all goals are worth the cost. The collapse of Codex serves as a stark example of intransigence. Despite being a pioneer in photography, Kodak's leadership stubbornly clung to traditional film, ignoring the digital revolution. This refusal to adapt and abandon outdated practices led to its decline and eventual bankruptcy. The sinking of the Titanic is a tragic example of intransigence. There were tons of warnings about icebergs, but the ship's crew just pressed on at full speed, prioritizing schedule over safety. And this stubbornness resulted in a lot of loss of life. Then, on the other side, we have Intel's Andy Grove, who exemplified strategic flexibility and adaptability. When Grove noticed the decline in the demand for memory chips, he boldly shifted Intel's focus to microprocessors. This pivot not only saved the company, but also positioned Intel as a leader in the tech industry, as we know. So, during the Cuban Missile Crisis, JFK's flexible and diplomatic approach helped avert a nuclear war. By engaging in these back-channel negotiations and being open to a peaceful resolution, Kennedy successfully de-escalated a highly volatile situation. Envy is another vice that can be performance-enhancing. It involves feeling bitter when others succeed and can drive us to work harder to outdo our peers. Now, while this competitive spirit can lead to higher achievements, it just ends up fostering resentment and undermines collaboration. Envy can motivate us to excel, but it's a destructive force that hinders genuine relationships and sustainable success. The rivalry between Steve Jobs and Bill Gates is a classic example of envy driving competition. It certainly did. Jobs' disdain for Microsoft and his obsession with outperforming Gates led to intense competition. And this rivalry spurred innovation, no doubt, but it fostered a toxic environment and strained relationships. The rivalry between Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison was marked by envy and intense competition. Edison's attempts to undermine Tesla's work in alternating current AC electricity showcased how envy stifles innovation, and also giving credit where credit is due. The partnership, though, conversely, between Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger at Berkshire Hathaway showcases the power of mutual respect and collaboration. Of course, Charlie Munger's passed on. Now, instead of envying each other's successes, they leveraged their complementary skills and perspectives, leading to one of the most successful investment partnerships in history. The collaboration between Crick and Watson, who discovered the structure of DNA, again highlights the power of shared ambition and mutual respect. Their partnership built on intellectual camaraderie rather than envy, and it led to one of the most significant scientific breakthroughs of the 20th century. So, performance-enhancing vices ultimately result from a misalignment between one's success in a given domain and one's flourishing as a human. Surely, they are not a problem unique to business or a new problem either. If we go back in time, we see that in The Prince, Niccolo Machiavelli advises leaders that vices are sometimes required to maintain their position. And the financier Gordon Gekko in the movie Wall Street asserts that greed is good. And greed is good insofar as it is insatiable and helps one perform on the stock market. As a quality in a friend or a neighbor or a colleague, it's decidedly not good. So there are tons of examples from nearly every domain of human striving, because success and virtue sometimes pull apart. So why should we care? We should care because business practices form us for good or for ill. This is a big reason why we engage in business in the first place, to be transformed by daily practices. Now, some of this transformation is professional. We develop our skills and expertise, but some of it involves our character. Business practices shape our habits of attention and our emotional responses, and they inform how and with whom we spend our time. So considering that character consists of our dispositions, our patterns of thinking, feeling, and acting, we might be especially attentive to formative practices. We certainly would do well to do so. Like business, where these things play a substantial role in shaping us. Character matters because vices have costs. They have personal costs, like the inability to self-govern, to submit to good ends and remain in them, and to live in sustainable ways for our long-term well-being. Vices have costs for business themselves. So think about cheating. Cheaters subvert the terms of success in the competition where they occur, but they also undermine the integrity of businesses moving forward because people stop believing that what they see is real. Furthermore, vices present harms to business community. Certain business practices provide daily practices in acting on outsized anger, and this can present a risk to a business person's community, increasing the risk of conflicts and legal issues. Pride has costs for relationships. It makes a business person less teachable and more resistant to critique, and it feels bad to be one of the people considered less around a business person who deems themselves more. So while there may be benefits for acting in terms of a vice in the business arena, a business person is not just a business person. They are a colleague, a friend, a community member, and a family member. So my call to action on these grounds in a world transfixed by business success is to pay attention to the ways you are being shaped. Clarify your objectives in business and the kinds of bargains you are willing to make for the sake of performance. Maybe certain vices make us more successful in the short term, but even for those engaged in the highest levels of business, it is worth asking whether these trade-offs are worth making. Remember, a successful professional is also a human being, and everyone bears the cost of their character flaws. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe for more Thinkstruments. See you next time.